أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي ربي يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير آمين يا رب العالمين.
In this lecture, we will study the use of fa'il as noun and pronoun. Let us revise some key concepts. First of all, kalima are meaningful words in Arabic, and all meaningful words in Arabic will either be ism, fa'il, or harf. The simple definition of fa'il is that fa'il is a kalima. It indicates an action or the performance of an action, and every fa'il will always have a tense. There are two types of fa'il: fa'il mazi, which is used for the past tense, and fa'il mudare, which is used for the present and future tense. In Arabic grammar, for every action we require only 3 root letters. These root letters are called huruf-e-mada. Masdar is an ism that describes the meaning of an action without indicating who performed the action or when the action was performed. For example, to sit, to go, to eat, or to drink. Next, we used the masdar, to go, to make 14 sentences in the past tense, or we made 14 jumla fi'liya in the past tense. We started with our first jumla fi'liya, which was zahaba. Zahaba means he went. Zahaba, zahaba, zahabu. Zahabat, zahabata, zahabna. Zahabta, zahabtuma, zahabtum. Zahabti, zahabtuma, zahabtunna. Zahabtu, zahabna. Our first jumla fi'liya is zahaba. He went. There are some rules of jumla fi'liya that we need to know. Jumla fi'liya will always begin with a fi'il. Jumla fi'liya will have at least 2 parts. The first part is fi'il and fa'il. Fa'il is the one performing the action. Fa'il will always be marfu. So in the case of zahaba, the fa'il is he or huwa, and it is hidden in zahaba. Every fi'il will always have a fa'il. The following is a table of jumla fi'liya in the past tense. And in this table, we have a total of 14 jumla fi'liya. Please note that in each of these 14 jumla fi'liya, the fa'il is a personal pronoun. And since fa'il always needs to be marfu, these are all marfu personal pronouns. Please note that fa'il is the one that performs the action. So in the case of zahaba, the fa'il is he or huwa. Zahaba means he went. In the case of zahabtum, zahabtum means you went, referring to masculine and plural. In the case of zahabtum, the fa'il is antum. The marfu personal pronoun antum is used for the meaning of you, referring to masculine and plural. Zahabtu has the personal pronoun ana. Zahabtu means I went. In this table, we see the 14 jumla fi'liya, and highlighted in purple, we see the associated marfu personal pronouns. All of these marfu personal pronouns are fa'il. Zahaba, the fa'il is huwa. Zahaba, the fa'il is huma. Zahabu, the fa'il is hum. Zahabat, the fa'il is hiya. Zahabata, the fa'il is huma. Zahabna, the fa'il is hunna. Zahabta, the fa'il is anta. Zahabtuma, the fa'il is antuma. Zahabtum, the fa'il is antum. Zahabti, the fa'il is anti. Zahabtuma, the fa'il is antuma. Zahabtunna, the fa'il is antunna. Zahabtu, fa'il is ana, and zahabna, the fa'il is nahnu. Zahaba, zahaba, zahabu. Zahabat, zahabata, zahabna. zahabta, zahabtuma, zahabtum, zahabti, zahabtuma, zahabtunna, zahabtu, zahabna. Huwa, huma, hum, hiya, huma, hunna, anta, antuma, antum, anti, antuma, antunna, ana, nahnu. To summarize, Jumla Fi'liya has at least two parts, Fi'l and Fa'il. Fa'il will always be marfu and Fa'il is the one performing the action. So far we have studied the use of Fa'il as marfu personal pronouns. The terminology for personal pronouns is Ism Zamir. So we have studied the use of Ism Zamir as Fa'il. Using the marfu personal pronouns, we made Jumla Fi'liya such as Zahaba, Zahabat and Zahabtu. In the case of Zahaba, the Fa'il is Huwa or he. In the case of Zahabtu, the Fa'il is Ana or I. Zahaba means he went, Zahabat means she went, Zahabtu means I went. Now, instead of saying he went, she went, I went, if we want to say Zaid went or Fatima went, clearly we can see that in this case, instead of using a personal pronoun he, she or I, we are using a noun, Zaid, Fatima. So, in such cases, the fa'il will need to be used as a noun. Therefore, the second way a fa'il can be used is as a marfu noun, and the terminology for that is Ism Zahir. To recap, fa'il will always be marfu. Fa'il is the one performing the action. Fa'il can either be a marfu personal pronoun or fa'il can be a noun which is also marfu. Fa'il can either be Ism Zamir or it can be Ism Zahir. Let us do some review questions. What is Jumla Fi'liya? It is a jumla or sentence that begins with fi'l. What are the parts of Jumla Fi'liya? Jumla Fi'liya will have at least two parts, fi'l and fa'il. What is the status or i'rab of fa'il? Fa'il must always be marfu. What is fa'il? Fa'il is the one performing the action. Can fa'il be a personal pronoun? Yes, and it is called Ism Zamir. Can fa'il be a noun? Yes, fa'il can be used as a noun, and in that case it will be called Ism Zahir. The following is a very important concept regarding the use of fa'il. We studied that fa'il can either be a marfu personal pronoun or fa'il can be a marfu noun. When fa'il is being used as a marfu personal pronoun, we have 14 different options to choose from. Why 14? Because we have 14 different marfu personal pronouns. So for example, if we want to use huwa as fa'il, we will pick the first cell which is zahaba and use it in our Jumla Fi'liya. If we want to use nahnu as fa'il, we will pick the cell that has zahabna in it and use it in the Jumla. If we want to use ana as the fa'il, we will pick zahabtu and use it in our Jumla Fi'liya and so on. So to summarize, when fa'il is a personal pronoun, then the 14 cells from the Jumla Fi'liya table can be used to make our Jumla Fi'liya. There are 14 different marfu personal pronouns and we have 14 different options to pick from if we want to make our Jumla Fi'liya. But what is the case if the fa'il is a marfu noun? This is different as we do not have a fixed number of marfu nouns. We know that in the case of pronouns, we have a total of 14 different options. But that number cannot be defined for marfu nouns, so we need to have a rule. And the rule is that when fa'il is a noun, then only cell number 1 or cell number 4 can be used to make Jumla Fi'liya. So when the fa'il is a marfu noun or Ism Zahir, we can only choose from cell number 1, for example, Zahaba, or cell number 4, for example, Zahabat, to make our Jumla Failya. If the file is a noun, then we cannot use the remainder of the table and we will only need to choose from cell number 1 or cell number 4 to make our Jumla Failya. Let us study some examples to understand this concept further. We will study some examples and we will study how to use file either as marfu personal pronoun or as a marfu noun. Looking at the examples of the use of file as marfu personal pronouns, the first example that we have is he went. In the case of he went, he is a personal pronoun and the corresponding marfu personal pronoun is huwa. So we will need to choose cell number 1 to make our Jumla Failya, and for he went, we will have the Jumla Failya Zahaba. If we want to say they went, referring to masculine and plural, we will once again refer to our table and we can pick from 14 different options. They is referring to the third person, masculine and plural, so we will pick masculine and plural in the third person and we will need to pick this cell to make our Jumla Failya. For they, we have the corresponding marfu personal pronoun hum, and therefore we will use cell number 3 to make our Jumla Failya. For they went, we will say Zahabu. She went. For she, we need to look at cell number 4. For she, the corresponding marfu personal pronoun is hiya, and we will use Zahabat in our Jumla Failya. She went, Zahabat. They went, referring to feminine and dual. Again, we will come to our third person section. We will pick the feminine row and we will pick the dual option. For they went, for feminine and dual, we have the corresponding marfu personal pronoun huma and we will therefore pick Zahabata. They went for feminine and plural. Now we need to move further in the table. We will pick feminine and plural for the third person. The personal pronoun that we need to pick is hunna, and for hunna we will use zahabna. He went, zahaba. They went, zahabu. She went, zahabat. They went for feminine and dual, zahabata. They went for feminine and plural, zahabna. So in all these examples, we are seeing that we are using the full table and we are picking options according to the personal pronoun that is being used. Now let us look at the use of marfu noun as fa'il. If we want to say Zaid went, in this case, Zaid is fa'il. Fa'il is the one performing the action. Zaid is the one performing the action. And since Zaid is a noun, therefore fa'il will be used as a noun. And as we studied that if fa'il is a noun, then we only have two options. Either we can use cell number 1 or we can use cell number 4. Since Zaid is masculine, we will pick the option that is masculine and we will say Zahaba Zaidun. Please note that in this case, the fa'il is being revealed. So Zaidun is the fa'il. Fa'il is always marfu. That is why Zaidun is marfu. Now, for Zahaba, it does not mean he went because the he is being exposed as Zaidun. So Zahaba Zaidun will be translated as Zaid went. Nasir, Zaid and Hamid went. So again, Nasir, Zaid and Hamid, these are examples of nouns. We are not using them as pronouns. So we are not going to look at this table and pick the option of Zahabu. That will be incorrect. Nasir, Zaid and Hamid are masculine. Nasir, Zaid and Hamid are nouns. And because we are using nouns as fa'il, we again only have two options. Either we use cell number 1 or we use cell number 4. Nasir, Zaid and Hamid are masculine. So we will pick cell number 1, which is Zahaba, and we will say Zahaba Nasirun wa Zaidun wa Hamidun. Again, Nasirun is marfu, Zaidun is marfu, Hamidun is marfu because the fa'il must always be marfu. In this case, just like the top example, the fa'il is no longer within Zahaba. The fa'il, Nasirun, Zaidun, Hamidun are being revealed. Fatima went. In the case of Zaid went, we used cell number 1. And applying the same rule for Fatima went, we will use cell number 4, which is Zahabat, and we will say Zahabat Fatimatu. Please recall that we are not going to say Fatimatun because Fatima is a feminine name and therefore it is ghair munsarif. Zainab and Maryam went. Zainab is a noun, Maryam is a noun, and if a noun is being used as a fa'il, we no longer need to use all the 14 options. We only need to pick from either cell number 1 or cell number 4 of our table, and we will pick cell number 4 because we are dealing with the feminine gender, and we will say Zahabat, Zainabu wa Maryamu. Zainab, Maryam and Fatima went. Zainab is a noun, Maryam is a noun, Fatima is a noun. Zainab, Maryam and Fatima are fa'il, and we will use either cell number 1 or cell number 4. Since we are dealing with the feminine gender, we will pick cell number 4 and we will say Zahabat, Zainabu wa Maryamu wa Fatimatu. Zaid went, Zahaba Zaidun. Nasir, Zaid and Hamid went. Zahaba Nasirun wa Zaidun wa Hamidun. Fatima went, Zahabat Fatimatu. Zainab and Maryam went, Zahabat Zainabu wa Maryamu. Zainab, Maryam and Fatima went, Zahabat Zainabu wa Maryamu wa Fatimatu. To summarize, if the fa'il is a personal pronoun, then we have 14 options to make our Jumla Fi'liya. But if the fa'il is a noun, then we only have 2 options to pick from our table to make our Jumla Fi'liya. Let us do some practice of using the noun Muslim as fa'il. The Muslim went. In this example, the Muslim is the one performing the action. The Muslim therefore is fa'il. And the Muslim is noun. So if we are using noun as fa'il, again from our table, we have to pick from cell number 1 or cell number 4. The Muslim is masculine, so we will pick cell number 1 and we will have Zahabal Muslimu. This was originally Zahaba al-Muslimu, but to say it in continuation, we will say Zahabal Muslimu. The Muslims went, referring to dual number. The Muslims is representing fa'il because the Muslims are the one performing the action. The Muslims will be a noun in Arabic, and that is why we will pick cell number 1 and we will say Zahabal Muslimani. Please note that the ani ending sound is used to indicate dual number, and the ani ending sound is also used to indicate rafa status. We are going with rafa status because fa'il will always be marfu. The Muslims went, referring to the plural number. The Muslims are performing the action. The Muslims will represent fa'il, and the Muslims will be noun in Arabic. So we will pick cell number 1 from our table and we will say Zahabal Muslimuna. Una ending sound indicates masculine non-broken plural, and una ending sound indicates rafa status. Please note the ani and una ending sound. Ani ending sound in Muslimani and una ending sound in Muslimuna indicates rafa status or the marfu form of ism. Al-Muslimu, Al-Muslimani, Al-Muslimuna are all marfu because the fa'il needs to be marfu. Now looking at some feminine examples. The Muslim went, referring to the feminine Muslim. Zahabatil Muslimatu. Please note that Zahabatil Muslimatu was originally Zahabat and Al-Muslimatu. We picked Zahabat from our table because we are dealing with the feminine example, so we will pick cell number 4, and we are choosing either from cell number 1 or cell number 4 because Al-Muslimatu is a noun and Al-Muslimatu is fa'il. Since Al-Muslimatu is fa'il, it is marfu. The rule for pronouncing Zahabat Al-Muslimatu in continuation is to put a zair on the last letter of the word preceding Hamzatul Wasl. So we have Zahabatil Muslimatu. The Muslims went, referring to feminine Muslims and dual number. Zahabatil Muslimatani. Focus on the ani ending sound. The Muslims went, referring to feminine and plural. Zahabatil Muslimatu. Please notice the atu ending sound. So whether we are referring to singular or dual or plural number, in either case we are picking only zahabat, zahabat and zahabat because our fa'il is a noun and fa'il is feminine. Once again, note the ani and atu ending sound. Ani and atu ending sound for muslimatani and muslimatu respectively indicates rafa status or marfu form of the ism. Let us study some more examples of fa'il as noun, and we will choose the noun Muslim. The Muslim read, Qara'al Muslimu. Please note that if we were just looking at Qara'a, the translation would be he read. But for the Muslim read, the Muslim is fa'il and now the fa'il is revealed. So we will say Qara'al Muslimu. Al-Muslimu is marfu because the fa'il needs to be marfu. The Muslims read, referring to dual and masculine. Qara'al Muslimani. The Muslims read, referring to plural and masculine. Qara'al Muslimuna. Now looking at the feminine examples. The Muslim read, Qara'atil Muslimatu. The Muslims read, referring to the dual number. Qara'atil Muslimatani. The Muslims read, for the plural number. Qara'atil Muslimatu. The Muslims sat. Jalasal Muslimu. The Muslims sat, referring to dual and masculine. Jalasal Muslimani. The Muslims sat, for the plural number. Jalasal Muslimuna. Again, notice the ani ending sound and una ending sound. Now looking at the feminine examples. The Muslim sat. Jalasatil Muslimatu. The Muslims sat, for dual number. Jalasatil Muslimatani. The Muslims sat, for the plural number. Jalasatil Muslimatu. The Muslim entered. Dakhalal Muslimu. The Muslims entered, referring to the dual number. Dakhalal Muslimani. The Muslims entered, for the plural number. Dakhalal Muslimuna. The Muslim entered, for feminine example. Dakhalatil Muslimatu. The Muslims entered, for dual and feminine. Dakhalatil Muslimatani. The Muslims entered, for feminine and plural. Dakhalatil Muslimatu.